And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Monday, October 21st, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a map of the continental U.S. with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left, and then tabs for the territories. A quick check of the weather map on this Monday afternoon. Not a whole lot going on across the continental U.S., at least in terms of warnings, advisories. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch here in central Kansas, far southern Nebraska. More importantly, unusual warmth. Chicago area has had a second day in a row with temperatures around 80 degrees. It's the third full week of October, and we're talking still 80 degrees here in the Midwest. Quite remarkable. But here in Alaska, we're dealing with a major early season winter storm. Big low pressure coming across eastern Russia, emerging now into the Arctic Ocean, Chukchi Sea. Has an extensive frontal system, another one of these really big lows and big frontal system, kind of like the one that we had over a week ago, but that was further south, just south of the Alaska Peninsula. This thing is producing high winds, high surf, beach erosion, coastal flooding along areas of the west coast as the precipitation works its way inland. Moderate to heavy rain and snow going over to heavier accumulating snow in a number of spots, especially in the interior around the Alaska range. And we're going to see colder air and occasionally stormy weather now into early November. So we just continue that gradual slide toward real winter, and we're already seeing some of that. So here at Wales at the Bering Strait, winds mid-afternoon south-southwest 45 miles an hour sustained, gusting to 67 miles an hour, 37 degrees. You can see the surf here getting kicked up. Koyuk on the east end of Norton Sound, there is a coastal flood warning, temperature 37. Southwest winds are just starting to pick up. The potential later tonight into early Tuesday morning is for, at high tide, the water levels to be anywhere from 8 to as much as 12 to 13 feet above the higher high tide. And that's notable because now we're talking about water levels that'll be up near where Murbach was. Now the winds may not be as strong as Murbach, nor the wave action, but the push of water, because this is just a very long fetch coming in up through Norton Sound whenever you get that west-southwest wind. Snow in the interior. Talkeetna has a winter weather advisory for 6 to 10 inches of snow. As of early afternoon, there was light rain, snow, and sleet mix, 31, and it'll be all snow here for the night and into tomorrow. Juneau had second Mendenhall Glacier Dam release there, Suicide Basin. That happened late last night and caused moderate flood levels. So far, no reports of any damage. It was within the channel because we had the record historic flood event just this past August, which caused a lot of damage. Fortunately, the water level's not that high, but we had a second release in the same year, so that's notable. And looking at this map, it's lit up like Christmas. We have a lot of warnings and advisories. The things along the coast here, the areas in orange are coastal flood advisories. The areas in red are coastal flood warnings and high wind warnings. And you see how this encompasses all the areas along the Chukchi Sea coast, Bering Strait, including St. Lawrence Island, Nunavik Island. Some of the strongest winds are coming up right here through the Bering Strait along the west-south side of the Seward Peninsula. Nome getting pounded by big surf action and strong winds. And again, as the winds go from more of a southerly component to southwesterly, that's going to allow this long fetch, build those waves and allow that water to pile in here into Norton Sound. So the area here, especially east of Golovin up through Shaktoolik and Koyuk, have the potential to see some of the highest water levels with this storm. So keep that in mind. Now, moisture spreading inland. We have high wind advisories, including the Alaska Range. This is a winter storm warning for areas of the Alaska Range, including Denali Park. Winter storm warnings for areas north and east of Fairbanks and the higher terrain, the White Mountains up through the Dalton Highway. Some areas here could get over a foot of snowfall. Same thing in the Alaska Range, but as I mentioned, Talkeetna, Cantwell, 8 to 12 inches of snow, certainly within the realm of possibility. Also, winter weather advisory White Pass here for as much as 2 to 6 inches of snow as that system moves in tomorrow and for tomorrow night. But very active weather pattern, and why? Because of this deep low that's located up here coming out of eastern Russia along the Russian Arctic coast. As I put this satellite in motion, you can see the circulation. Look at the extent of this front. Extensive, massive, long front pushing through the mainland, extending back down along the Alaska Peninsula, trailing into the North Pacific. We lay down the fronts, and here you have it. Central pressure earlier this Monday morning was down around 955 millibars. It's slowly going to come back up. And this low is just going to kind of work its way right along the northwest Arctic coast between Cape Lisburne on up toward Utqiagvik. This front will continue working its way eastward. A little bit of secondary development at the triple point as it works into the northern Gulf, but this is not going to become a big low as sometimes happens with these kind of systems. That is going to stay the main low. And as we go through late tonight and into the day on Tuesday, we have a little bit of secondary development. That's going to help push this front in and bring that snow to the northern panhandle for as we get into tomorrow night. The low continues to fill 972 millibars, but look at the wind. And the air coming in off the Bering relatively milder. It's staying above freezing, so coastal areas will either have some rain or a mix of some rain and snow, but the interior, where it's colder air being drawn down from the northwest, it's going to be moderate to heavy snow in those areas. And as we get into Tuesday, the low just sits up there just west, near Wainwright, west of Utqiagvik, and the secondary low just begins to wash out and weaken out. There's another system going to be dropping southeastward, heading toward the lower Bering Sea for midweek into the end of the week. So we have the cold air then in place. Snow will begin to diminish across the interior, maybe light to areas of moderate snow. But this will be the next low. Not quite as strong, but it's still energetic. It's going to keep active weather going. That's going to emerge into the Gulf and create additional issues as we get into the latter portion of the week. So in the meantime, temperatures across the panhandle have turned chillier, upper 20s, near 30 degrees up along the intercoastal mountains and the inner channels. Back to the west, lows stay above freezing. Anchorage Bowl, this Kenai Peninsula, but you'll be below freezing, a bit below freezing there. Copper River Basin and the Susitna Valley, where winter weather advisory is in effect up there. Tuesday afternoon, temperatures should reach near 40 in the northern panhandle, mid 40s in the south. 40 might be a little too optimistic for Talkeetna, but I would say maybe upper 30s. And then Wednesday morning, we're expecting lows below freezing, Copper River Basin, especially west side of the Susitna Valley. Temperatures above freezing in the panhandle, generally mid 30s to lower 40s, generally mid 30s, just above freezing, south central. And then Wednesday afternoon, we expect readings to be in the 40s, low mid 40s across the panhandle. 30s as you get inland, away from Anchorage Bowl, but still coastal areas in the 40s. In the far north, not as cold as it was with the clear skies we had prior to the storm. Temperatures are being forced upward by the wind and the cloud cover and areas of precipitation. And as we look at highs on Tuesday, readings getting back up a bit above freezing in the Yukon and Tanana valleys, and out here even along the Bering Strait. We're looking at highs right around 34, 36 degrees. Same thing along the Arctic coast, but the winds stay up. We'll continue to have that high surf action that could lead to beach erosion. And then temperatures Wednesday morning, bit colder, below freezing along the Arctic coast. More so, could be 8 above Arctic Village. Some teens here, upper Tanana Valley, getting into the 20s. As I was mentioning, the system is going to pull in colder air, so mainly snow then will be the rule. And we have temperatures Wednesday afternoon that will be cooler, generally at or below freezing in most areas. For the southwest, we have this brisk southwest flow coming in off of the lower Bering with highs or Tuesday morning lows above freezing, and then certainly in the 40s, lower 40s along the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians. Tuesday afternoon, you can see temperatures upper 30s to even 40s, 44 at Dillingham, King Salmon. There could be an isolated 50-degree reading as we trail out down toward False Pass, Cold Bay, and the eastern Aleutians. Certainly out here toward Adak and Shemya could have temperatures around 50. And then Wednesday morning, Lows get below freezing in the interior as we go up the Yukon and Kuskokwim rivers, 27-ish there around as we get up toward McGrath. And then temperatures stay lower 40s along the Alaska Peninsula and Aleutians, and Wednesday afternoon highs. We're looking at some readings still near 50, say Dutch Harbor. Could even be a couple of readings near 50 here on the North Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula. But looking at temperatures, and this is something I've been reiterating, it's been pretty apparent all month long. We're just going to slowly see those temperatures cool and slide toward those winter levels. We expect below normal temperatures at the end of the month, October 27th through the 31st there for Halloween, with the greatest likelihood of below normal temperatures over the Panhandle, but much of the state cooler than normal. The big warmth will continue in parts of the Midwest, Great Lakes region. We'll see temperatures above to much above normal while we cool down. And precipitation looks like it will average above normal, especially in interior areas between the Alaska and Brooks Range. So really not a lot of change in the overall outlook. Again, it just depends where the next series of lows come up, whether they come out of the North Pacific crossing the Bering or in the North Pacific into the Gulf. We'll pin down exactly where there may be some moderate to heavier episodes of precipitation. But overall, turning colder here for the end of the month and staying somewhat of an active weather pattern, and precipitation averaging generally above normal.